Welcome to HomeFront Sitrep. I hope you're in for a great show today, because I'm just a veteran talking about what's on my mind and maybe yours.
You can find HomeFront Sitrep on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. You can also check out HomeFront Sitrep's YouTube channel.
Buckle up, the show is starting.
Out on the edge of the battle and back, we've carried the weight and we've walked every track. From desert dust to the fire at home, we've learned how to fight, how to stand alone. But no one tells you what comes after the war, when silence is louder than the guns we bore. That's where we speak, that's where we heal, with stories too real for Hollywood reels. Welcome to the front lines you don't always see, when warriors to battle just differently. This is our check-in, our voice, our step. This is the HomeFront Sitrep podcast. For the fallen, the fighting, and those who came home. For the brothers and sisters who still feel alone. We're holding the line with truth and respect. This is the HomeFront Sitrep podcast. For the fallen, the fighting, and those who came home. For the brothers and sisters who still feel alone. We're holding the line with truth and respect. This is the HomeFront Sitrep podcast. It ain't all medals and waving flags. There's pain in the silence and weight in the bags. But we've got a mic and a mission to share, to tell the damn truth, cause somebody's gotta care. We laugh, we cry, we cuss, we pray. We honor the ones who ain't here today. From basic to battle and back to the block. This is our rhythm of round table talk. Welcome to the front lines you don't always see, when warriors to battle just differently. This is our check-in, our voice, our step. This is the HomeFront Sitrep podcast. Still heavy in dreams out of reach, for the lessons the textbooks could never teach. We're sounding off, no filter, no prep. This is the HomeFront Sitrep podcast. So if you're born with boots or love someone who did, if you swallowed your hurt and kept it all hid, pull up a chair, you're not alone. Welcome to the front lines you don't always see, where courage meets scars and raw honesty. This is our anthem, our truth intercept. This is the HomeFront Sitrep podcast. For the ones still standing and those we've lost yet, for every single story we'll never forget. We speak so others won't forget. This is the HomeFront Sitrep podcast. Real talk, real facts, real life. HomeFront Sitrep podcast, where the mission continues.
Welcome, everybody, to a Sunday edition of HomeFront Sitrep. How is everybody doing? Gunny, how are you, sir?
Tired. Got home at like 1 o'clock this morning from Eldora. Unfortunately, Mother Nature won yesterday. But Thursday night, man, great show. Our two jumpers landed right there, front stretch, start-finish line, right where they were supposed to. You know, had Fox Sports 1 on board, you know, the highlight, no limit or high limit racing that's owned by Brad Sweet. And Kyle Larson was Thursday night, $100,000 to win.
Oh, man.
Insane. Last night was $200,000. It was the King's Royal, so $200,000 to win. The 50-50, though, let me tell you about Eldora and the 50-50. When I left, the take home was up to $80,000.
Holy cow.
The take home.
That's a lot, bro.
Yeah. But I mean, it was pretty cool is, you know, Eldora from their piece that they get, right, from their half that they get, a portion of that goes back to the track. Other portions of it get spread across to the first responder community up in Dark County, Greene County, all the surrounding area to help support new equipment, training, you know, whatever that they need. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, just watching that 50-50 go up last night while I was there, from the time we arrived to the time we left, I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. I was like, that's a pretty good lump of fun. You know, you're gonna get 40,000. They're like, no, that's your take home.
That's crazy.
We only put the winner's purse up there. I was like, oh my gosh, I need to get in on this.
Yeah, no doubt. Did you get in on it?
I didn't. I didn't.
You should have.
Man, focus on the jump, man. That's the thing in trying to get it done. If we would have been 10 minutes earlier, I mean, we got shifted because of weather anyway. We had massive thunderstorms come through. But if we would not have been shifted and been able to jump at our regular jump time, show would have gone off without a hitch, no problem. But, Mother Nature being Mother Nature, I mean, we had another show for the Ohio Challenge Balloon Festival. They canceled everything for yesterday. Friday, we got 2 flag jumps in. We got the pyro show in. So, yeah, super excited. Of course, the season is getting ready to ramp up with college football and all the other fall festival stuff that we have and drag racing and so much other stuff. So, but yeah, so people will be seeing a little less of me on the Sunday.
Next couple months, anyway.
On the Sunday editions, possibly Monday, depending on where I'm at travel-wise. But yeah, man, just other than that, just, got to sit up and rest. Wednesday, big day for me, taking the trip to Frankfurt and doing a little bottling. And then Saturday is our release for the Team Fast Tracks bottle. Super excited about that one, man. I know I say that every time. I mean, we've got the Moog bottle sitting here from J Matt, got the Warrior on a Cruise bottle sitting on the other shelf from J Matt. The proceeds going to great nonprofits and help the guys and girls continue their mission and what we do with the skydive team in Blue Skies, and to be able to provide skydive experiences and jumps for other nonprofits with the funds that we're going to raise is huge for us and our sponsor as well. So, but yeah, super excited for that. Of course, news will come out on Sunday. I'll have bottle in hand to
I can't wait for it to see it.
To Vanna White it,
I can't wait.
How about you? How was your weekend?
Man, I tell you what, you didn't miss much here in Kentucky other than rain almost every day. I mean, between the heat and the rain, you didn't miss a whole lot. Friday night, we went up to the concert here in Mount Washington at the amphitheater. They had Take Me to Church, which is an Eric Church cover band that travels the country. And they also had Light Combs, which is Luke Combs, and they're really, really good. Unfortunately, we got through the Take Me to Church, and then Light Combs got on stage, and he probably got maybe 3 or 4 songs in. Then the thunder and lightning came, a little bit of light rain came through, and they're like, well, we're going to stop for 10-15 minutes. Hopefully, it passes through, and then they called the show, so we didn't get to watch hopefully they reschedule. Hopefully, that's what we're hoping. But it'll be cutting into football season here locally. The local school, and so more than likely they won't. Who went to the Coldplay concert? Not me. What's me? But no. Other than that, so upcoming. I'm supposed to be you on the 26th over at J Mass for the bottle release, but my oldest daughter got another scholarship that she's getting awarded on Saturday, here locally. I think it's $1,000 scholarship, which is super cool. Every little bit helps when you go into college, and for being an 18-year-old getting these scholarships. And then my youngest found out that she passed 2 of her AP tests this year. She only had 2. She passed both of them. So she's passed 3 so far, that she's had AP wise. Yeah. So she got an award for being an AP scholar, which is super cool. That'll be something, that next year when she graduates that, she's going to have a couple. I think she's going to have a couple more AP classes. Yeah.
That Keys money, man, is just unbelievable. Micah, like every semester, he's like, hey, I got this much in Keys money. I got this much in Keys money. I'm like, use it, bud. Yeah,
definitely. So no, I'm super excited, and it's just one of those things, man. A proud dad moment. My living room right now looks like a Home Goods threw up in there with all the stuff for college.
Right? That's a couple of weeks. That's not too far off.
August 13th is moving day, man. And she don't start until I think so. She moves in on the 13th, and I think first day of classes is the 18th. If I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think they do that.
They do that first week of
the freshman
like
orientation type
well,
stuff, and
that
like,
and the big they call it the Big E welcome.
yeah,
For EKU, the Big E welcome. They have a big party. They go up there and touch the footprint or the foot, which it's kind of like Clemson touching the rock. EKU Sports has the statue of the guy. I forget who it was, and they touch the foot for good luck before each game. Which the super cool thing is her dorm is right across from the football field.
Oh, nice.
So we're going to go to a couple home games up there at EKU just to support her. The first one's at U of L, so I got to find me a shirt that says U of L and EKU so I can wear both of them because I'm a U of L fan.
Why?
I don't know, man. I've always been a U of L fan, man. But yeah, I want to give a big shout out to Top joining us tonight, Mr. Steve Kingsley and Kirk Holcomb. Welcome in here. If you are watching this, please say something in the chat so we know who's out there watching. I'm sure our regulars will be rolling in here shortly. But I got
to give a big thank you to Mr. Franco from 06 Reveille. Got a nice fresh hat that will only be seen tonight on the podcast because I only wear one hat at a time.
I'm hoping mine comes tomorrow. I'm hoping mine comes tomorrow and the shirt too. I'm hoping. We'll see.
Yeah, shirts in the laundry, so I'll be wearing that tomorrow. But
that's 06reveille.com, I believe, right?
Yeah. I think I'm gonna wear a Team Chevy hat tomorrow. I think from the Brickyard. I don't know. Maybe.
Nice.
We'll see.
So today we got a good guest coming on. So we're gonna let him tell about his. So I always give away too much of the information. So
yes,
I'm not going to give. I'm just going to talk about the organization a little bit here.
There we go.
So who out there plays video games? I've always been drawn to first player shooter games. Whether it would be Tom Clancy, Clancyverse with Rainbow Six, or something like that back in the day. And then now the big one is Call of Duty. I play the Call of Duty mobile on my phone, and I've been playing it for the last, 5 years, 6 years. And I play every season religiously. I was playing it every day, but now that I'm so busy, I get to play like every other day. So I'm a little behind, but I still play, and I still have my friends on there. I think because originally you could get rated up to rank like 200, and then it went to 300. Now it's at 400. I think I'm at like 365, working my way up to that 400. So I'm getting there slowly. But so we have the Call of Duty Endowment coming on today, and the mission of the Call of Duty Endowment is to identify and funds the most efficient and effective organizations that get unemployed veterans back to work, which is super, super cool. Like results right now, 150,000 plus veterans placed in jobs since 2009.
Dang.
What's up, Matthias? What's going on, buddy? Average cost for Call of Duty Endowment to get veterans placed into jobs is $628, which is 1/15 the cost of the U.S. Department of Labor's efforts.
Yeah,
that's friggin' phenomenal. 75,000 plus is the average starting salary for veterans placed by their partners. So that's well above, median household income. But we're going to let Mr. Dan Goldenberg talk about that when we bring him up to the stage. So let's do that. Let's bring Dan up now and welcome him to the show.
Hey, great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Welcome to the show, Dan. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. I got to tell you, that is the best podcast intro song I've ever heard. If there's an award for that, you guys should win it. I was getting emotional listening to it.
Well, thanks. So that's actually a new one. I think that's the first time Gunny's heard that one, because that was the new one. AI is my friend when I created that song. And I was like, man, and it took me a little bit to find the proper beat to go with it, because I like that edgy, kind of rocky, gritty kind of song. Yeah. And the first couple times I did it through AI, and it's like, I don't like it, because it made it like a country Americana rock, and I'm like, I'm not a big fan of that. And then I changed it up to do gritty, alt rock, and something else, and that's what it come up with. And I was like, "Yep, that's what I'm looking for."
Well, it confounded Shazam when I put it in there. So
Nice, nice.
nice.
Yeah, it's an AI song. That's what I like about it. But no, man, we want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come on here and hang up with us for this hour here that we're going to have you on. If you don't mind, introduce yourself to the world of HomeFront Sitrep, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for having me. I have the privilege of leading the Call of Duty Endowment. I can tell you a little bit more about the story of the endowment if you're interested. Though you all did a great job in the upfront, putting some of our key points out there in our history. But as far as me personally, I served 9 years active duty and then another 18 in the reserves, active reserve, drill and reserve. I flew planes for the first third of my career, and the rest was intelligence. But been all over the world, as you guys can imagine, doing that stuff. And I retired conveniently about 2 months before the pandemic from my last command out of Hawaii. And it was just an incredible career. And along the way, I literally my last day on active duty was August 11th, 2001. I go off to graduate school, and my first day of graduate school was 9/11. So then me and about 5% of my class were former military, and a number of us raised our hands and went back in to try and serve. There are no planes for me to fly up in the Boston area where I was, so I took where I thought I could, add value, and became an intelligence officer, and did that as long as it made sense. But pretty much was in there the whole run from Reagan till kind of, things were winding down in Afghanistan. So it was a great career. I spent about 10 years after graduate school working in the private sector, consulting, stuff like that. And it was really interesting work, but it was, in many ways, it was kind of soulless work. And I was looking for something a lot more meaningful in my life, a chance to give back to the community that really means so much to me. And so this opportunity came up. Activision Blizzard, the video game company that makes Call of Duty, was looking for a veteran who had a business background. They didn't want a nonprofit person. They wanted someone who'd kind of align with their way of thinking about this problem to lead the foundation. And so I was the first full-time executive director, now president, leading the Call of Duty Endowment. And our mission's real simple. We're a one-trick pony. It's get as many vets into good jobs as possible and make sure employers understand the value of veterans in the workforce. And so it's a labor of love. I've been doing it now for, 12, almost 13 years. And, I have a wonderful team around me. And most importantly, we've been, I think, able to make a difference for our fellow brothers and sisters in arms.
So when you say you help veterans get jobs, what type of jobs are you getting these veterans?
Yeah, all across the economy. The biggest thing for us is high quality jobs. And we take that's not a throwaway term. We measure it. So we measure high quality job in terms of salary. Thanks for sounding that one off. Retention rates, both 6-month and 12-month retention rates, and the percentage of those placements that are for full-time employment. At the end of the day, we believe if you have meaningful work, a career and whatever that may be, if you have a good salary and you have benefits and you have a good fit, good for the vet, good for the company, you've created something meaningful. And honestly, you've either helped solve or make better a host of other problems a lot of us face in transition. The fact of the matter is post 9/11 veterans tell us 95% of post 9/11 vets say they want to continue serving their communities after they take off the uniform. You can't really do that if you don't have a salary and a roof over your head, right? So,
yeah,
and the fact of the matter is the number one service, I know this won't shock you guys, but it always seems to shock the politicians, is the number one service veterans ask for when they leave the service is help finding a job. And pretty much with a very small, you all know, especially Gunny, I'm sure, a very small percentage of us truly can live off that retirement. So almost no one was really retired when they leave the military, right? They're looking for that next job. And they need it. They need it to survive. So it's all about making sure that's a good fit for the investment in the company. And if we can do that, then we're, that means benefits, that means healthcare, that means a purpose, that means people to work with. And this is great for mental health. It's great for physical health. and it's great for self-respect. So we think at the bottom line is the best thing you can do for the most veterans to help them find quality employment.
So we got a question here. Kirk says, I'm looking for a 250,000 plus job. Any openings? So when you're placing veterans, so you're also helping service members that are
real quick. I got to go. We just got rotation.
Okay. Be safe. All right, let's switch this view back here. Yeah, let's do that one. All right. Hopefully he'll come back. Hopefully he'll get it'll go through. So if you're praying tight, pray for Gunny. There's a tornado warning in his area, so pray for him up there. So, like I was saying, you guys you help service members that are transitioning out, and then you also help veterans to land good paying jobs. Now, I'm sure there's some kind of qualifications, like you guys got to help do the resumes and stuff like that, because a lot of times the veteran doesn't understand how to translate their military service over into the civilian sector. So is that something you guys do as well?
Absolutely. So, and I want to come back to the person commented about the 250K job, because I don't want to, that's not a throwaway question. That's a fair question. And I think I have a decent answer for it. So, but first let me answer your question, Wilson, which is, we found, we took an educated guess about a dozen years ago that the two most important things in a veteran finding a job are high quality resume prepared by a professional and interview practice with a professional coach. The third thing, and this is the thing that really comes first, is really high quality counseling and helping you figure out what makes sense to do next in your life. A lot of veterans, the reason underemployment is such a huge problem, more than 60% amongst veterans, is because, a lot of folks are like, I got to get a job. I'll just take anything. And sometimes that makes sense. Sometimes that does not make sense. But, taking anything could mean you're taking a leap and it's a bad one and you're going to end up with a bad fit. So high quality fit matters. So those three things were our guess, like great counseling services to get you pointed in the right direction, resume prep, interview practice. And interestingly, about a decade later, Penn State did some research on this, and they found out that the two most important things in a veteran getting a high quality job were two of those three things: professional interview preparation and professional professional coaching and interview practice. If you do those two things, you're 3 times more likely to land a high quality job statistically. So we were right on those things. By the way, the counseling still makes a lot of sense. It's just the real statistical proof is on those two things. And here's the thing: you should never, ever pay for those services. There's no need to pay for them. That's on us. That's what we pay for, for the counselors that do that work. There's a bunch of other things that go into getting the right fit job. But if you want to talk about like the 80-20 rule, those are the 20% of things that drive 80% of the outcomes.
Nice. So getting back to the $250,000 job.
Yeah. What I'd say is this, when you start or either you're coming out of the military job search or you're just not happy where you are, which is true for a lot of veterans. You're underemployed, you're working beneath your experience, your skill set, your education. There's certain jobs that will pay that. And then it's really important to go into a career counselor. And for that vet who's on the phone, I encourage you to go to one of our grantees. It's free. And tell them that. Say, look, I'm not happy where I am. This is where I want to get. And my goal is to make $250,000 a year. I mean, they will help you figure out what the universe of jobs are that can pay that. And then what the path is for you to get there. Don't be shy. Veterans are really shy talking about money. And the fact of the matter is, welcome to capitalism, the system you've been defending in uniform. That is okay. It's not something to be shy about. To have that conversation with someone who's had many reps, many conversations, someone who's in the data, someone who has really tight relationships with employers. There's a small number, but not a tiny number of jobs that will get you there. And sometimes that means more education. Sometimes that means more hours. Sometimes that means picking up and moving. There ain't no free lunch. That is for sure. Every dollar you work for in this capitalist economy, be it as an entrepreneur or as a working at a tech company or whatever it is you're doing, they'll get the pound of flesh out of you. But if you're willing to put in the work, the salaries are there.
So when it comes to helping veterans get placed in these jobs, let's say a guy has been out for 20 years, right? He's had a job that it paid the bills for 20 years. Now he's ready to retire from there and he's looking for something different. Is that something that you guys would help that veteran who is, been out for 20 years? Now he's looking for something different. Is that something you guys do?
100%. Let me tell you who we serve. We serve transitioning service members. We serve guardsmen. We serve reservists. And we serve those who are true veterans who've been out there. And it doesn't matter if you've been out there for 1 year or 40 years. It's never too late. Never costs you a dime. All you have to have is proof of service. We don't even care about discharge status. We just have to have proof of service. That's it. DD 214. And our grantees will help you, period. End of story.
Nice. So let's say a veteran like myself. So I've always been into, I work for a telecommunications company. I have for almost the last, since 2005. So 19 years. I work for a cable company. Now I work for a telecom company. And I've been at the telecom company for now 13 years. I believe 13 years. But let's say I'm looking for something different, and say I want to get into media, kind of like like podcasting, but media broadcasting and stuff like that. Does the Call of Duty Endowment help fund, like if I wanted to go back to school or like to get training? Is that something the Call of Duty Endowment does?
So no, what we do, I'll always be straight with you. I'll give a straight answer, but our grantees are superb at showing you how to access funds that can help you get there. So for instance, I'd argue, let's say you wanted to do that, Willis. And if you were a service disabled veteran, they'd be able to find out, hey, is this guy eligible for, let's say you already used your post 9/11 GI Bill or gave it to your kid. Are you eligible for, just as an example of one program, Voc Rehab? Voc Rehab is a terrific program. It is very hard to navigate getting into, but once you're in, it can be phenomenal. I know someone who, they got out of the Marine Corps as an E4. They went to undergrad on the GI Bill, and then through Voc Rehab, they went to law school. It's pretty incredible. All that education, not spending a dime, right? So, they just had to make the difference of Voc Rehab is you have to make the case. You have to have the disability rating and make the case. Suffice it to say, there's a lot of programs out there, and it's overwhelming for any one veteran, including myself. But our grantees, this is what their expertise is all around. They know where the resources are. They know where the programs are. They'll help you build the map to get there and do it as much not on your dime as possible.
Nice. Yeah, I know the VA has a lot of programs out there, and everybody hears the negative about the VA, especially the healthcare side of things. But what they don't realize is the VA has a lot of programs out there that will help veterans, get into different positions and different jobs. Like if you want to learn how to become an actor, you want to learn how to become a comedian. They have an arts program. I think it's called Creative Vets or something like that. And then they have the vocational side of things where they help you if you want to learn how to do computer programming or anything of that nature. They can help you do that as well. So Kirk has says, I'm an ED for 2 nonprofits and kind of capped salary wise $170K, and finding higher paying nonprofit jobs are not advertised like typical jobs. So I'm assuming he's wondering if there's other nonprofit jobs out there that you guys might know about. I'm assuming is what he's asking.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, I would go to one of our grantees and ask them right off the bat, in an intake, say you went to like Hire Heroes USA or Vet Jobs. Those are 2 of the 8 we support in the US. Also great. I mentioned those. All of our grantees are phenomenal at what they do. They tend to have different specializations a little bit. They work with different populations. So just as an example, Vet Jobs, super, they'll help any veteran, super deep on the Guard and Reserve. Hire Heroes USA, again, help any veteran, super deep on transitioning service members. You'll find them on bases, whereas Vet Jobs, you'll find them with MOUs with the Guard and Reserve. Anyway, the important part is to reach out and ask for help. It doesn't cost you a dime, and be upfront. Say, this is what I'm looking for. Can you help me? And our grantees, if they can't, what they can do oftentimes is refer you to someone who can. So, obviously nobody likes to get bounced around, but at the end of the day, this is employment. There are many, many organizations out there. I think the 8 we fund are the best. I can talk about that more if you want, Willis, but just be upfront about it. Nonprofit world is a little different. If you're looking for leadership level, ED, meaning executive director level, head of nonprofit level jobs, sometimes it's good to get your hat in the ring with headhunters. There are headhunters who are specifically focused on nonprofits. And, headhunters, fundamentally, they work for the employer. They don't work for candidates. So on the one hand, they're not going to work for you. They're not going to find you a job. But what they do need is a database of candidates. And simply reaching out to headhunters in the nonprofit field, not hard to find them, and say, just want to let you know, I'm currently working in these roles, but I'm looking for other possibilities. Please keep me in mind. They'll put you in their database, and you never know when your number will come up. So that's something you can do on your own. I've had many, many friends in the space. I was not a nonprofit person 12 years ago. I walked into nonprofit leadership, and I had to learn. I was a business leader. And I'll say this, that, what I learned as a business leader has made me, I think, a successful nonprofit leader. But I don't want to ever trivialize, like every industry, as you will, has its own special things you got to learn to be effective. But keep at it, try the headhunter route, and reach out to our grantees. I think you'll find help.
And then Top says, what about a home logistical job? Been retired since 2012 as a BDE level.
Home logistical job. What kind of thing are we looking for, one or presently in one? Give me a little more information if that's possible.
Yes, Top, if you give us a little bit more information.
I'm sorry, I don't know BDE. I'm usually pretty good with acronyms, but you got me on that one.
Yeah, I'm not for sure what BDE is either. I know Top was in the Army.
The brigade or something? I don't know.
I don't know. Let's see. He's looking for a home logistical job. What's BDE level, Top? Brigade level, yes.
Brigade level. Okay. So a home logistics. I'm not, so is this like, I'm gonna have to take some guesses here. So home logistics could be anything from home healthcare to house building to home repair. Help me zero in on that target a little more, and I'll do my best.
Well, I know UPS and Amazon has some home logistical jobs, but I don't know if that's what he's looking for. So yeah, we need to kind of hone it into a little bit what you're looking for there, Top.
I'll tell you what. Why don't we come back to that?
Okay.
When you get a little more, and I promise I'll do my best to answer the question.
Yeah, definitely. So let's talk a little bit about
work from home. Maybe he means work from home. Is that what you're?
Yeah, I think he's talking about working from home.
Okay. Okay. If we can get a thumbs up or something from him, I can't see the comments, so I don't know.
So up at the top where it says comments, up where it says private comments, can you see where it says comments next?
Oh, got it now. Got it.
So
now.
you should be able to see the comments there now.
Beautiful. Okay. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah. So, I think the same thing is true then. First of all, especially if you had a logistics background in the military, compared to many other MOSs, really easy to translate that to the commercial sector. And if it's got to be work from home, if you got to be remote, obviously a lot of companies have pulled back from that. Now, some of these logistic jobs can involve a lot of travel, and because of that, companies may be more willing to give you a little more flexibility on work from home if you're going to be on an airplane half the time. But I'd be really upfront with that. Again, go to one of our grantees. This is something they do know how to do, and realize it'll narrow the universe of companies that you can work for. But as long as you're upfront with our grant, look, there's no reason not to show all your cards with one of our grantees, with one of their counselors, and they can help you filter down and find opportunities. So work from home, doing logistics. The good news is a lot of demand for logisticians in our economy. It's never ceasing, especially all the talk about bringing manufacturing back to our country. Big need for that everywhere. So you're in a hot field, And because it's a hot field, there may be more willingness to negotiate. And that's the thing. You got to be a big difference between being in the military and being in the commercial sector is you can negotiate almost anything. If they want you bad enough, salary, benefits, hours, location, there's so many things you can negotiate. The bigger the company, the more inflexible they tend to be. But if they need you, they'll pay, or they'll be flexible. So if that's what you want, that's great, because that helps you focus your job search. It's kind of one of the reasons I've always been concerned about job fairs, especially for transitioning service members. Showing up one of those job fairs and saying what in the military is a virtue, raising your hand and say, hey, I'll do anything. Not helpful in the civilian job search.
Right.
You got to have focus. So you may view this as a constraint. I view it as focus, as actually an advantage, because you're like, okay, I can winnow out all those other companies that will not allow remote work and start from there. So just be upfront about that. I think you'll find something.
Yeah, definitely. Like I do know there's some like the big logistic companies out there that does allow their employees to work at home, but I don't know if there's start at home jobs start at home positions. Like if you just start with the company, if they let you work from home. I know my buddy's been at UPS for 26 years and he's only been working from home for the last 5 years. So,
only way to find out is to ask.
For sure.
Reach out
for
and
sure.
ask them. I guarantee you our grantees, they get a lot of service members or former service members who say, hey, I might be a caregiver. Let's say if I'm a military spouse, or, I may have an exceptional family member, or there just may be circumstances in your life where you got to stay put in a place where companies ain't. And that's okay. Just be upfront about it. It'll help them narrow down the search. They'll find something for you.
So he's asking if LinkedIn is beneficial. My experience has been more scamming info than anything.
Yeah, I think, I haven't had any scamming personally, but again, I haven't been looking for a job. So look, I think it's a necessary thing, right? It's as necessary as your resume. In fact, in some ways, it's more important than your resume, because the difference is people are looking for you. They're searching on you. You got to be in there. You don't need to respond to a lot of the crap, the stuff that's unsolicited, that are ads that are being pushed. You just ignore them or block them. But, you got to use your head, but you got to be out there. Your profile, the quality of your profile is just as important as your resume. And some people would say it's more important. But again, our grantees will work with you on that for free. So don't get frustrated. Get out there, raise your hand, ask for help, and they'll make you help you make a LinkedIn profile that'll sing. And they can also probably help you avoid some of the things you're worried about by how you set up your profile.
Yeah, definitely. So my profile on LinkedIn is not, it's set up, but it's not like extravagant because I'm not looking for another job. So if I was looking for another job, I would go in and add more information in there. But I still get hits. Like I still get people reaching out saying, hey, we seen your profile on LinkedIn. We're interested. And I'm like, And a lot of it is podcast roles, like some remote podcast jobs, and then some, on site. And I'm like, I already do my podcast. I can't see doing another podcast unless you're going to pay me a pretty good penny. That way I can quit my day job and do, focus on that. So, but like I said, I got a couple years before I can retire from AT&T, and then I can decide what I'm going to do from there. I just got 60% rated. I'm still working on getting that up to that 100%. And then once I get to 100% and I get my retirement from AT&T and then plus my VA, then I might be able to just do podcasting full time. But we'll see. I still got a few years down the road.
First time, let me tell you, you're definitely a pro. So I've been on a fair number of podcasts, and I'm real impressed. So
thank you. I try, and it's so for me, this is my passion. So I want to make sure that the guests that we have and the information that we put out is top notch, because I'm going to ask you a question and then I'll tell you my answer to this question. So this is the only question that is probably going to be meaningful. What keeps you awake at night?
Yeah, honestly, this is. I wish I could give the General Mattis answer. As I don't keep, nothing keeps me awake. I keep other people awake at night, but that's not true, unfortunately. Now, I lose sleep over the fact that there is not a realization of how bad the national unemployment and, very important, underemployment rate is for veterans. So let me explain this. I'm going to nerd out for a second, but bear with me. So when you hear the veteran unemployment rate is blah, 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 what you're hearing in the news is the Bureau of Labor Statistics number. That number has been given every month since 1940. And it's based on one question that the Census Bureau, we think of the census every 10 years, but that's not true. They do other stuff as well. They do something called the CPS. It's a survey of homes every year, or every month, I should say. And the question they ask that determines the U.S. unemployment rate is this: last week were you paid for work? Last week were you paid for work? If you say yes, the federal government counts you as fully employed. Then they ask you, are you a veteran? If you say yes, they correlate those two answers. That's a veteran unemployment rate. What's the problem with that? A lot of problems with that. First of all, about a third of folks who are veterans don't identify as veterans. I'll give you an example. My dad was drafted in 1959 in the Army. He was a paratrooper. To his dying day, he said he wasn't a veteran because he hadn't been in combat. Obviously, combat status has nothing to do with veteran status, right? But there's a lot of veterans out there. We also know that certain segments of veterans, apparently, especially women, tend to underreport it because they think it'll be held against them in the job market. Yeah. So interestingly, when you ask the question a little differently, you say, have you ever served in uniform? You're much more likely to get people that give you the actual correct answer. But all that said, the BLS number typically is tracking around or under the U.S. unemployment rate. It's just a bullshit number. Can I say that on the podcast? I think I can. Yeah. So why is this something that bothered me? The reason it bothered me is this: because month after month, year after year, our grantees, our 8 U.S. grantees, 2 UK ones, would tell us, man, we're just getting a non-stop flow of veterans asking for help, more than we can handle. They all have waiting lists. And I was like, how can this be when we keep pouring more resources in here? We're helping more and more veterans. And yet the federal government's telling us the number is low and going down. Well, it's just a false number. At the end of the day, there's some new stats coming out that are really interesting that look at what they call the functional unemployment rate, which is basically if you're bringing in less than $25,000 a year, really hard to live in this country, right? Really hard to live. So if you factor that in, now the unemployment rate for veterans is around 18%. So almost 1 in 5 of us is functionally unemployed. Now, those are people on the job market. Now, if you look at all veterans in the country, now some of them are too old to work, some of them are retired, truly retired, but the functional unemployment rate, when you look at all veterans, is about 60%. 60%. So what gets me up at night is the politicians are being told, the people who are allocating money in Congress, and it doesn't matter Democrat or Republican, the reaction is the same. Everything's great. The Bureau of Labor Statistics says we're doing great, when we see people hurting every day. And it might be like, I have a job, I have 2 jobs, but I can't pay the rent. I don't have a living wage. I sure as hell can't afford healthcare. That's what we want to see. And if that's not enough to get folks caring, here's what really matters. There is a survey the Department of Defense has done every year since 1983, since Reagan was president, looking at the willingness to serve in this country. They go to high school students, they go to parents, teachers, and coaches, and the willingness to serve among students, the willingness to recommend service amongst parents, teachers, and coaches. It is currently at the lowest rate it's been since in the 40 plus years they've been doing this study. The lowest rate. The only time it was ever this low was during the surge in Iraq. And we know why then, because folks were seeing, our brothers and sisters in arms coming back in body bags. But that's not happening now. So why is that? In the sense amongst Americans, we did a study on this with Ipsos and Mission Roll Call, is that, hey, I admire the military. I'll clap for people who serve. I'll donate. I just don't want my kid, my student, my athlete going in the military, because if we do, there's going to be bad outcomes for them as veterans. Largely not true, by the way. Largely not true. But that's the perception, right? Employment's one of the areas where it's a real mixed bag. Veterans tend to be more loyal employees. The stats tell us they they stay in jobs longer, they tend to be more productive employees. They do more for the same amount of time than non-vets. That's a fact. Looking across 1 million Fortune 500 executives. So there's a real business case for hiring veterans. But there's a lot of our brothers and sisters out there who are not getting by, and that's not okay. And, the public perception is, with mental health, with physical health, that veterans aren't doing well. It's a mixed story. In some ways, veterans are doing great in this country. In other ways, we have a long way to go.
See, that kind of rolls into what keeps me awake at night is missing that one veteran that becomes part of the 22. Not having a job, not being able to provide for your family. A lot of times that puts that veteran in that mindset, hey, I'd be better off if I wasn't here. So they become one of the 22, which we all know that number is skewed, because when they did the original study, they only looked at 9 states and they didn't, it's just very skewed. So, and it's kind of the same way with unemployment rate, and, all that kind of correlates together. But the reason I do this podcast and the reason I'm so passionate about it is because I don't want to miss that one veteran. Because if I can reach one veteran today, then I know I completed my mission, because that veteran can go on and tell somebody else. And that's why I put my whole heart and soul into doing this podcast. For one, it's my therapy, because it helps me, because I get to talk to other veterans that have been through similar stuff that I've been through. And then I also get to find all these mom and pop grassroots nonprofits out here that still care about us as a veteran and don't see us as a number. And then, I get to bring in veteran authors like this book series here. This is the Fight series by Betsy Ross. She's an Army combat veteran. It's 4-book series. It's amazing. Now it's fact-based fiction, but it tells you about all the struggles, the emotions that we as veterans go through when we're no longer in service, when we're no longer in uniform. Let's rephrase that. No longer in uniform. And then, I got Sacrificed by Michelle Black, who's a Gold Star widow. Her husband lost his, was killed in action. Then you got Vincent Vargas Rocco, who is Army veteran, Border Patrol agent, movie actor, author, a little bit of everything. And then I got other ones over here on this other side by Chad Robilex and Jeremy Stallnacker and all of these. As long as I can put great information out there and have it at, a click of a mouse, or somebody can open their phone and go to Amazon or Spotify and listen to the show and get that information. That's what I'm here for. And that's why when was it Lauren who reached out for you guys, and I was like, I'm definitely interested, because anybody that's helping veterans get a job, get over, I can't say get over, but help control their PTSD, their hyper anxiety, their hypervigilance and stuff like that. That's what we're wanting on this show, because that right there tells me you guys still care about the veterans and you don't see them as a number. So
not at all. We do. In fact, the way we got into this was Call of Duty, big gaming franchise, obviously, and the leadership at Activision Blizzard wanted to give back in a meaningful way to the community that inspired the game. And so that's what it's all been about from the beginning, is giving back in a really meaningful way. At this point, we're close to 100 million that we've donated to the cause, and every cent goes to putting vets in high quality jobs. And, there's a lot of folks, the Call of Duty Endowment's an independent 501c3 foundation, but, we work very closely with Call of Duty and Activision, and, at least twice a year, they're in-game items in Call of Duty. They're raising awareness about what we're doing and raising money. And every cent of that, money that Activision gets goes to this cause of putting vets in jobs. That's phenomenal. That's
phenomenal. Yeah, because I like I said, I've been playing Call of Duty Mobile. So I got an Xbox. I got Call of Duty Modern Warfare and several of the games on that, but I don't have time to play Xbox not like I used to. Now when I'm at work and I'm on a 15-minute break or on my 30-minute lunch break, I open up my phone, play Call of Duty Mobile. Or if I'm home, like earlier today, my wife and my oldest kid was at church serving. My other kid was working. Was my weekend to go to church, so I was just sitting on the couch getting ready for the podcast, and I opened up the phone and I was moving all of my saved episodes from my computer to my external hard drive. So I was just sitting there waiting. So I just played. I was like, for me, it helps soothe me, calms me down. It helps my mind do something else while I'm focused on something else.
Yeah.
So I definitely love the Call of Duty games, especially the mobile.
Well, you know, we recently worked with Flo Groberg, Medal of Honor recipient, and his platoon sergeant, former platoon sergeant Corey Staley, on an in-game pack for now. It's on console and on PC. We have packs, as you've probably seen on COD Mobile as well, different packs, but a lot of times the same thing. And we wanted to tell his story. We wanted to get it in the game and also raise a lot of money for the cause. And it's just, anyway, in through that work we've done over the years with Flo, one of the really beautiful things he told us, and I can't think of another way to describe it than that, is Call of Duty's been a great way for him to stay in touch with his battle buddies after he took off the uniform.
Yep.
Right. You know, it's not, gaming today isn't, you know, a kid in his mom's basement. It's a very social, it's not a solitary thing. It's a very social thing where you stay in touch with your friends over great distances. You know, people have asked me, why is it when, you know, civilians have told me, like, we've gone forward and seen a fob and the guys out there are playing Call of Duty. Haven't they had enough? And I'm like, you don't get it. It's about blowing off steam. It's about staying in touch. It's about having fun. You know, so I think it's a meaningful touch point for veterans and service members.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like there's that tactical grandpa. He was a Vietnam. I think he's Vietnam or maybe a World War II veteran, and now he's playing, you know, COD, and he's one of the big ones. And then tactical grandma. You know, she's and I'm like, bro, I see her videos all over the place, and I see his videos. I'm like, man, this is super cool. And then, you know, they give back to veteran causes and stuff in their area, which is super cool. And there's a lot of veterans out there, like you said, that play just to stay in contact with some of their former platoon mates that might live on the other coast. And, you know, they have teams where they play all the time together, and it's super cool. It's super neat to see. And I'm so thankful that, you know, you guys are part of, you know, Activision and Call of Duty and all of that, and you guys work together, and you're able to help veterans. That's the major thing.
That's what we exist to do, you know, and we're not relenting. Our new goal is 200,000 jobs by the end of the decade, and we're well on our way to getting there. And, you know, we're not going to stop. It's until, you know, the problem's fixed. Unfortunately, you know, the funding that goes through mainly the Department of Labor, but also the VA and DOD. There's some good programs in there. They're just not effective for the dollar. You know, honestly, if we had half the budget the federal government spends on this, we could end veteran unemployment, and underemployment. We could end it functionally. Anybody who wanted a job and was marginally qualified and willing to do the work could get a job. It's just our grantees are just much more flexible. They're much more in tune with the market. They're much more tech forward. You know, they know what works, and they're flexible and adaptable. And, you know, so much of my time and my team's time spent raising money because we know we have a model that works. The more money we can put into it, the more vets we're going to get in good jobs.
Yeah, heck yeah. No, that's what I like. So we're getting close to being at the end of the show here. What are some ways, let's say if somebody wanted to get involved, whether they own a company or they just want to donate money to the mission, how can they do that?
Yeah, well, the first thing I always have to say is this: if you're a veteran who needs a job or is underemployed, working beneath your skill set and experience and education, reach out to us for help. Number one, it's free. You should never pay a dime for this. Go to our website, click on the Veteran Support tab. It'll link you up. If you're an employer looking to hire veterans, same thing. We've got an ability to directly connect you with our grantees, and they can help you find the right fit vets. We would never push a veteran to a job that isn't right for them or right for the company. Good fit's good for everyone. If you want to donate, and click the donate button on callofdutyendowment.org. Or if you're a gamer, COD gamer, be it mobile or console or PC, buy one of our in-game items. I think our Call of Duty community loves them. They've been real popular. And again, every cent Activision gets goes into putting vets in jobs. So you can count on that. Like I said, like Will said at the beginning of the podcast, we place vets in jobs for 1/15 the cost of the Department of Labor, and we get better quality outcomes. So in terms of starting salary, retention rates, and the percentage of the jobs there for full-time work. So your money's being well spent at the end of the day. So we're here to help, and we're grateful for the opportunity to get our message out, Wills. And I hope Gunny's okay.
I hope so too. I keep looking at the radar here on my phone just to check his area, make sure where he's good up there. So guys, ladies, gents, if you're watching this now or you're listening to it later, it's Call of Duty Endowment.org is the website. So www.callofdutyendowment.org. You can go on there and you can see about veterans, partners, news, ways you can help, contact us, and also a donate button. Go there if you want to donate money. Click on the donate button. I think you can set it up where it comes out once a month, or you can set up just a one-time payment. So go click the donate button. If you're looking to get a job, you click on veterans, go to U.S. veterans, and then it says, "Are you an unemployed veteran or a transitioning service member looking for work?" You can put your zip code in. You can see what jobs are available in your area.
It'll connect you with the grantee in the area. And they in turn will help you with that. You added 100% until that point, Will.
Dang, I was getting there. But other than that, guys, ladies, gents, go check out callofdutyendowment.org. Amazing organization helping veterans, and the backstory. Just go in there and read the backstory, and there's some amazing people that are involved within the Call of Duty Endowment. So go check it out. I'm not even going to talk about who's involved. Just go find out who's involved. But Dan, I want to thank you for coming on here and hanging out with us. I wish Gunny could have been here for the whole episode, but he'll go back and he'll listen to it later. But is there anything that we missed that you want to talk about real quick before we let you go in the green room and then close out the show?
No, I think it's been great. We're honored for the opportunity. If folks are more into social media, you can follow us on Facebook, on X, on Instagram, and I think on yes, I think that rounded it out. So
do y'all have a TikTok?
We do have a TikTok. It's small, growing. The other ones are bigger, and we're on YouTube as well. So
nice.
If you like all of our Call of Duty Endowment in-game items in Call of Duty, if you want to see all our trailers, they're all there.
Heck yeah. And their website's got all kinds of information on there. So go to the website, Call of Duty. So it's callofdutyendowment.org. And go check it out and get connected with them on all their social media. Dan, thank you again for hanging out with us for this hour. If you want to hang out, I'm going to drop you down in the green room, close it out real quick, and then we can chit-chat a little bit more. Or if you got to go, I'd understand that too.
Thanks so much, Will.
Hey, you're very welcome. Ladies and gents, how cool was that? I tell you what, that was phenomenal. I mean, let me go back to the stats. 150 veteran job placements to date as of right now. Man, that is friggin' phenomenal. $9 billion in economic impact for veterans and their families through first year salaries obtained. Highest quality jobs, average starting salary above $75,000, 14% above the national average. 6-month retention rate above 90%. Man, I could go on and talk about them. There's on the website you can check out all kinds of things on there. So go check it out for sure. Gunny's not here. I wish he was coming back, but hopefully he's safe and no tornado in his tornado touchdown in his area. But hashtag you're not alone, guys. Don't let your dark days win. Somebody wants you to be there tomorrow. You're loved. They want you to show up tomorrow. I think this says it a little bit, not as good as Gunny's, but close. In the silence of your struggles, remember, though unseen, you are deeply held in the hearts of others. You are not alone. Yeah, you are definitely not alone. Reach out to Gunny, reach out to me, reach out to a battle buddy, because you are cared about. Regardless if you talk every day or if you haven't talked in the last 20 years, somebody wants you to show up there and be there tomorrow. They still care about you. And then hashtag be somebody stranger. Look, listen, guys, if you're out and about and you see somebody that's having a bad day, we as humans, we're more apt to talk to a complete stranger than the ones we love the most. So be somebody stranger. When you're out and about and you see somebody that looks like they're having a bad day, ask them, hey, how are you doing? And if they say, oh, I'm hanging in there, I'm living a dream, the red flags, ask the next hard question. How are you really doing? More than likely, they're going to open up, and it could be a 5-minute conversation, could be a 5-hour conversation. You just got to be ready for it. Then I want to give a big shout out to our partners, Heroes Media Group, Reese Across America Radio, Military United Podcast Streams, and Elite Engraving. You can find HomeFront Sitrep on Thursday nights, 11 p.m. Eastern on Reese Across America. Right here, I'll put it on the screen. ReaseAcrossAmerica.org/radio. So that's Thursday nights, 11 p.m. Eastern. And you can find us there on Reese Across America Radio. Or you can download the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app, or the Odyssey app, and search the word Reese, and you can find it there as well. And also, if you're a veteran nonprofit out there, Reese Across America has a great partnership with nonprofits, where a nonprofit can do a fundraising through Reese Across America Radio. So if you're a nonprofit and you want to get connected with Reese Across America Radio, let me know, and I can get you in contact with Jeff. Then I want to give a big shout out to SameFlagSameOath.com, our partnership with Matt and Becky Johnson out of Katy, Texas. Small veteran-owned company. They make T-shirts, hats. They do a little bit of everything. Amazing brand. We have a co-branded shirt. You've probably seen me wear it. It says Marine It Down on it. It's a word play on Keep It Simple, Stupid. So definitely that. And then go check out our website, HomeFrontSitrep.com. On the merch site, or the merch part of that, you can see the hat that we have. That's the HomeFront Sitrep logo on a Richardson 112 hat. You can order that. And you can also get our shirt from SameFlagSameOath.com as well. So HomeFront gets 25% of each shirt sale from SameFlagSameOath.com. At the end of the year, what we're going to do is we're going to put all these nonprofits on a wheel, spin that wheel. Whoever it lands on is going to get that 25% check, however much it be. It could be $50. It could be $2,000. It depends on how many shirts you guys order from SameFlagSameOath.com, the Marine It Down shirts. And then same thing goes with the Elite Engraving hat that we got. We get 20% of that. We're going to take the nonprofits again, spin a wheel, and whoever it lands on gets that. And make sure you tag HomeFront Sitrep with those. And then also check out ObjectiveZero.org. Amazing organization. They have an app. It's 24/7, 365 days a year. It's a great app. If you're a veteran and you're struggling and you want to talk to just a Marine, you can actually go on there and filter it so you only talk to Marines. If you're a female and you only feel comfortable talking with other females, you can filter it by females. So go check out ObjectiveZero.org. Mark Russell, how are you, sir? Welcome in, sir. Gunny had to jump because there was a tornado warning up in his area. So I might be checking on him here in just a few minutes. But unfortunately, it is that time of night, my friends. It is that time of night. Like we always say on Homefront Sitrep, stay safe out there. We got your six.
Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed the show.
Suggestions and comments are always welcome.
Cannot wait to have another great show with y'all.
Don't forget you can find Homefront Sitrep on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Stay safe out there. I got your six.